I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio, and welcome to the Mayors Roundtable. Intelligent conversation around a half-round table with your mayor, Robert Woodruff. Mayor, thanks for coming out again tonight.
Doc, it's a pleasure.
Now, tonight is actually kind of an anniversary, actually. It's our semi-annual. You've been in office now a half year.
Yep.
What's it been like?
Well, I've enjoyed it. I think we've put together a good group of people in our administration. I've got a very good council who work very, very hard.
Are you finding a good working relationship amongst the members of the council? Because that's kind of imperative, isn't it?
It is, and there's no doubt about that. I think that we all recognize that each of us have particular skills, and some of us are better at some things than others. And to recognize that and allow council people to do what they do best is benefits us all. Mm-hmm. And I think we've been pretty good at that. Like I said, within administration, our business administrator John Basicolo and his assistant Barbara Russo and our town clerk, I think, and our CFO and everybody. So we're very happy with how things are going.
So now here's the real question. Is the honeymoon over? Have they started coming down on you yet?
Well, they started the first week.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they started the first
week. All right,
week.
so you didn't get that honeymoon.
There was no honeymoon. Divorce papers were filed early.
There you go.
I think that's what happened, yeah.
Well, I think it's a nice time to just kind of reflect back a little bit on the last 6 months. So let's take tonight's show. And by the way, I'd like to welcome our live audience for coming out tonight. Give your hands a round of applause, please.
Okay.
We do appreciate it. Again, we want to remind everybody, public's welcome to come out to see the shows and to participate in the live audience. Third Thursday of every month, 6:45 p.m. But let's go back to the question, Mayor. So, last 6 months, what kind of recap would you say we've had?
Well, I think it's been a good 6 months. We've been extremely active. As the township knows, we're very involved in the affordable housing issues and the redevelopment issues and the issues with our roads, and we have a downtown that is changing. Okay, so there's a lot of areas we can get into tonight, and I think there's some information that maybe not everybody has.
Ooh, we're gonna get some neat stuff, some exciting stuff.
Perhaps.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses.
All right. Well, let's recap a little bit. So, roads, we've started the repaving.
That's correct.
And what's the update on that?
Well, the roads, we've done about 15 of them, 16 roads, together with the county, who has done some
Oh, really?
work. Yeah, the county's
so
done
that
some
was
work
Mountain Avenue, I think, was the
Mountain
county?
Avenue, which has not been completed, and I've been advised that that's because there's some work that needs to be done on the side of the roads and the curbing that needs to be done, and also that they really didn't want to do anything till after the 16th, which is today, because of the potential traffic problems with regards, obviously, to the Mount Carmel event. Mm-hmm. So, but we believe that we have some additional funds that we are going to allocate directly to more roads.
Okay. And
we're looking at that list that we have and trying to be flexible, and trying to, whatever amount of dollars we do have, trying to divide into that dollars the most roads we can get done. So, I don't think we're done. I think we could probably get some more roads done in the next 2 or 3 months. And we will do that.
Now, there's a schedule of roads. We've talked about this before.
Correct.
And just yesterday, somebody was asking me, but my road's terrible. It needs to get done. When's it going to get done? I said, look, township administrators got the list. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Of when they're scheduled?
That's correct.
And what if somebody really does have a road that's changed since the original inspection? We've talked about it, but once again, let's outline the steps for that citizen.
Okay, well, that has in fact occurred. All right, and we recognized when this original survey was done 2.5 years ago that some roads could deteriorate more quickly than others and jump up the list simply by their condition, and that has been done. If someone reasonably believes that their road
everyone reasonably believes, but let's.
I ascribe reasonableness to all of our citizens.
There you go.
So, if they do believe that, then they can come to the town and simply say, "Look, would you please have somebody take a look? Come to our town business administrator. He'll contact the engineer, and they'll get out and take a look at it."
So those are the steps.
Those are the steps, and if it's believed that this is the correct, that in fact they have jumped ahead of X number of streets, and we have done that. So, and we will do that, but. You had to have some standard to begin with. You had to have some form, and we thought we did, but we also need to be flexible, and I think we're also flexible.
Right. Now, we're on roads. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about our sweeper. It's my understanding the sweeper is doing every road in the town, starting from the center of town working its way out.
That's correct. There are various zones. I believe there's 5 of them. I may be incorrect, but I believe there's 5, and we work out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've just received some information that the sweeper, since we've received it, and it's out there every day, all day.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not just doing Plainfield Avenue and
It's doing
Park Avenue.
It's doing everybody's street up and down. So, as of this date, or right around this date, we've done almost 275 miles of streets. Now that would be, like I said, the distance up a street and down a street. Okay. We're now in section 2.
Out of 5. So
out
it's
of
going to
5.
take. It takes what, about 6 months then to get
Probably
through the whole town?
about that, maybe a little less. And for example, to show the condition, and when we talk about roads, we're not just talking about potholes. We're talking about the debris that kind of sits on the roads, which is the result of potholes and so on and so forth. I was advised we took 175 cubic yards of waste just in section 2.
Wow.
So the sweeper, obviously picks up this waste, and we then have to dump it in an appropriate place and so on and so forth. It's got to be dealt with. But the sweeper, like I said, it's going all day.
Now, I don't know if you know this might be an engineering question, but the sweeper's out there, it's picking up debris, it gets full at one point. Do they have to come back, dump it?
They go back, right? They go back
Is
to
that how
the
it
yard.
works?
We have a
So during the
designated
day,
area.
they may have to come back, dump, and then go back. So on their way back, they're not cleaning. So that's why if someone sees the sweeper driving around and it's not cleaning, it could be on its way home to dump so that it can go out and clean.
Correct. It's either coming or going to a designated area. So if it's coming heading back, it's coming back from a designated area, and if it's the middle of the day, it's because he has to.
That's why it goes up and down Park Avenue without sweeping and cleaning every time it goes up and down, because it's en route to where it has to
Correct.
clean.
And if
Because that's just what we were talking about.
And if anyone knows anything about our town DPW location, it is off of Park Avenue.
Exactly. So that explains that issue that came up actually at the Martin Caramel Festival last night. Someone wanted to know, how come it's never cleaning? It drives on Park Avenue.
Well,
that's
now
why.
they have the answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
As a side note to roads, what do we do about sidewalks? Is that part of this whole thing?
No, well, sidewalks are the responsibility of the homeowners
Are they?
in
Okay.
most circumstances,
All right.
and/or building owner, or landowner. And for example, some of the things we're doing downtown, anytime something's being done, we're requiring paving.
Yeah, that
certain pavers.
that herringbone red paving looks real
Correct.
nice.
And so that's the case. And there are situations in town that I have walked with my wife when we take our walk, and I'm looking at some beaten up sidewalks, and we are looking at them.
But that would be the homeowner's
in most
obligation?
instances, it's the homeowner's obligation. It depends. There may be a right of way situation.
easement,
There may
type of
be.
thing.
So I don't want to have every homeowner say that I'm looking at this particular obligation, but that oftentimes is the case.
Interesting. All right, we have to. I think we might have to revisit that in the future, so people can know how to handle that. Because it can be dangerous sometimes.
Absolutely.
You're walking or running, and on the roads, and you trip, and you don't want that. Definitely don't want problems. So roads sounds pretty good. Anything else we need to review with the roads over the last 6 months?
Other than
that's a lot of action.
It is, and we'd like the people to know that we are trying our best, and we're working hard, and we'll do so. And like I said, it's all about dollars.
Yeah.
And we think we may be able to free up some other dollars, and that the commitment is to the roads.
But the money's been allocated over what, 3 or 5 years or something?
It's been
Or
allocated.
15? I forget now.
It's an extended period of time with respect to the to doing the roads. Okay, it could be 15 years and what have you. But if we can get it done in 6 and 7 years, because the money comes in, that's what we're going to do.
Got it.
Okay, that's a little different than our capital plan with respect to purchasing major vehicles, such as police. Police, fire, and DPW vehicles. That's a rolling 5-year capital plan, and that's a little bit more defined, okay? Because these are capital projects that have lifespans. Roads can be done when we have the money. We get out and do the road.
Got it. I understand. Right. The other big catchword that's been all over, and it's going to be all over for a while, is the redevelopment.
Okay, well.
And we've had the big meeting over at Governor Livingston High School last month, and it's went very well. Not a lot of questions, which I guess is good and bad. I mean, sometimes you give so much information that people answers their questions, or sometimes you give so much information they don't know what to ask. So what's your reflection on the redevelopment status in terms of the community?
I think the response from the community was really the former. I think we did a very, very good job of getting all the information out, particularly our professionals. And I think many people walked away and said, okay, my questions have been answered. Now, whether they agree or disagree is another story, but their questions have been answered. Now, where we're at right now is as follows. The council has authorized our attorney, Joe Sordillo, to enter into discussions for the purchase to let the redevelopment proceed, meaning to get all the necessary paperwork to take what is currently a memorandum of understanding and convert that into legal documents that will actually reflect an exchange of property for the consideration and so on and so forth. So that has been done. So we are in the process of doing that. Now next, at the last meeting, the professionals had presented two plans.
This is the meeting at GL, or this was
this is last Tuesday's meeting, the last council meeting.
Council meeting, okay.
Our professionals have submitted, in particular our architect, in conjunction with our town planner who agrees, submitted two plans for the current, for building on this site. The recommendation by both of them was to build on this site. Okay, and there were two plans known as A and B, all right? And it would appear that Plan B, at least from a standpoint of its aesthetics and how it's set up, is the preferred plan. Now, our architect is in the process of meeting with certain landowners who live immediate to the area. That meeting will take place in the very near future. And he is going to take any of their thoughts and concerns and considerations. Nice. And then come back to us, hopefully in the next, at the next meeting, if not this one coming up, certainly the next one, and basically say, this is the recommendation. This is it. Now, he's going to flush that out. Where right now you're really seeing a bird's eye view. What we're going to get is a much more defined, more specific plan with respect to rooms and distances and so on and so forth. So that's where we're at. Now, we hope to have that at the next meeting. Also at the next meeting, we're going to be discussing the Hamilton Avenue suggestions, if you would, by our experts, our professionals. And really there's what is in the plans, or is known as Concept Plan 2, and that is if we take the property and we put it out for development, and from a townhouse standpoint, which could get us anywhere upwards of 100 townhouses, not condos, townhouses. Okay. Of which 20 would be affordable housing. 5 stories? They would be 2-bedroom. Okay. Okay. They would comply with all the variants, all the requirements with respect to the, our planning board, and anywhere 33, 36 feet, something in that area. But 2 stories, 2.5 stories. Okay, that kind of thing. And
so in concert with the community.
Correct. And so that's going to be discussed in public. Nice. Coming up very, very soon, next Tuesday. So that gets us to that next stage. And there'll be a meeting after that, which I'll get into. Apparently, it might be break time for us, but if it is, I'll get into that next one.
I do want to follow up with something you just said several times at the recent meeting, at the next meeting, at the meeting. Council meetings are a really critical time for citizens to find out what's happening.
Correct. Every other Tuesday.
And what can they not find out? I mean, there's executive session, or is there things where they're not privy to, or is it pretty much anything that's public record you're going to find out?
I think pretty much anything that's public record, you're going to find out. The only thing that exec sessions prohibit is anything coming out of an exec session until those items that are discussed are done. Okay. Okay. Litigation.
So it's like discussion.
Discussion, and eventually the minutes from those sessions are released.
Got it. So the bottom line is, if people want more information, this is only a half-hour show. Mayor, you're doing a great job. We got a lot to cover. Come to the township committee meetings. That's where you're going to find out what's going on in town, and that's how it's going to empower you with information. And the Communications Committee is all about videotaping for you too, and getting them on TV at the library so you can be informed. So I think that really needs to be underscored.
It does.
And
every other Tuesday.
There you go.
There you go.
And the mayor's right. We are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we need to go over a few more things about the downtown area, about the affordable housing issues, and of course, we have our questions for the mayor that came from you. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio with Mayor Robert Woodruff, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. It's the Mayors Roundtable on July 16th, the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. So we're here giving you the information, then we're going to head off to the feast. Mayor, you had talked a little bit about the Hamilton Avenue. Did we get all the information about that? Because you said the next council meeting, I think, is when you're really going to hammer that out.
Right. That's next Tuesday, which would be the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to have some discussion on that. And then the following meeting, 2 weeks later, we hope to, at that point in time, have the entire Plan B really broken down and have a request to our professional to do a model, an actual model, which will have Plan B really flushed out in all its dimensions. And at that time, we're going to discuss taxes.
All right. The tax implication.
The tax implication of the cost of building here, the cost of dealing with developers selling the other property, getting the offset, getting the benefit of that sale. All of that, and what's that going to do to taxes, as well as whether or not we are going to, whether it's appropriate to enter into what is known as the pilot payment in lieu of taxes, which is a way that developers can pay money up front. And there may be some benefits to that. There may not be, but we'll flush that out. And that should then get us to a position. We're also waiting for our professional planner to make his presentation, which should take place within the next couple of weeks in front of the planning board to have the other 3 areas in town declared redevelopment. So all that should be coming down next month and a half.
Great. And that pilot program was a question somebody had given us on one of our first shows.
It was.
Whether it created enough stir to get on the list, I don't know, but somebody gave us a nice heads up down the road, so I appreciate it.
They'll get their answers to that 2 weeks from this coming Tuesday.
So when is, when's the Fisher Cut bait date? Do we have one yet?
Well, like I said, we've made our decision insofar as moving forward and acquiring that property.
Okay.
So now it's just a question of dotting I's and crossing T's.
And that means the Hamilton Avenue property is going to become tax revenue generating.
That's correct.
That's
right
going to be
now,
nice.
it is not.
Sure, it's a church.
It's a church.
And that's fine.
Right.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So now redevelopment also includes affordable housing. Where do we stand on affordable housing? How do our numbers look? And how are we going to get it done?
Okay. Our papers were submitted by our council about 10 days ago.
Okay.
And there has been an initial decision, not in our vicinage, but down in Middlesex, came out of Monroe Township's application. Okay. And it made the news, at least the legal news anyway, in the last couple of days. And it was exceedingly favorable for the township. Okay, so the language was the kind of language that we have put forth in our papers, and we hope that the court here in this county adopts.
Nice.
So again, they're all, one doesn't necessarily carry the day for the other, but we would rather have had the kind of result we got from that court than not. So I think we feel pretty good. One of the issues is the 5 months. When does it start?
Sure.
Our adversaries would say it starts when you file the papers. We say it starts when the court tells us how many units we need, because that makes sense to me. I mean, how do you go about trying to develop a plan when you don't know what your obligation is? Yeah. So I think common sense would say that we should prevail on that issue. But we'll find out very, very soon.
Okay.
And, like I said, we're confident. I think our lawyers did a nice job. And
again, come to the meetings, watch them on tape, and watch them on TV, and then you'll find out as soon as everybody else knows.
That's correct.
And it's public information. Now, on a side note, what the heck is going on at the CVS, Frankie May's property? Can you give us some insight? I mean, it looks great, but what's happening?
Okay.
We know CVS is coming in town. We know that.
CVS is coming into town.
What's the deal?
Okay, if you've taken the time to just take a look at the property right now, Lone Pine Drive has been widened. That is going to be a light.
It is going to be a light.
It's going to be a light, and if you look at it, you can see there's going to be a right turn lane, and that's being flushed out and developed. The owners of that property are going to pave the sidewalks. All the sidewalks coming up from that location all the way down to the post office. All right. As well as the green lanterns and lights that are going up around town, consistent with our beautification committee. That's going up. I was advised also that they're going to put those lights up throughout the back of their property, in the large. Yes, they're going to do that. Now, the goal here is as follows, and that's to get a flow of traffic. There will be a double lane of traffic running directly in front of the stores in the back, that you can take the left to get out onto Lone Pine Drive, which is there right now.
All right.
But if you also come in off of Snyder, directly behind the post office, if you go straight, there will also be an exit there, which will be really right on the other side of Zita's, the ice cream place, really towards Benham's.
So, it'll be almost two parallels.
There'll be two parallels. So each of them are designed to get people going in that direction. And if people want to go west on Springfield Avenue, you're going to then go to Lone Pine, make the right, go to the light, and make the left. We're going to try and discourage people from making rights out of the front of that development.
Well, they won't be able to, because it looks like you can only, at the post office, can only go in one direction.
Can only go in right. And now there is some concern with respect to the manner of egress that's going to exist in front of the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, it looks...
There's some concern there.
I got news for you. The other day, I wanted to go in for a cup of coffee, and I was like, oh, too busy. But I drove past a little bit, and there was plenty of parking. It was very... I think that's a valid concern.
Well, one of the questions that I've spoken to the landowners about, and right now it's going to be a left and a right, and they're not sure whether that's the right thing to do, but they're going to let it sit for a little while and see how it flushes out. And I think once the light gets there,
that might help.
Then it's going to control that a little bit. But I think you may see a change in that, but we'll let time take its course there. So that's what's going on there. As with respect to the property about a block and a half further east, that which was burned.
Oh yeah, I see that building like every day. The one that is still burned out and has had nothing done to it in 18 months.
Well, I have information for you today.
Oh, good. Good. All right.
And I was advised.
Should I sit down?
I think it's favorable. Within the next few days, it's my understanding that the underground work's going to begin.
Meaning what?
Meaning all of that which some utilities, all of the things that would otherwise be, you'd have to go into the ground to do. Okay, lighting and so on and so forth. All that has pretty much been cleared. There are one or two minor issues that have to be dealt with respect to the county approvals. So there's still, according to the architect who I spoke with, there's about 1 to 1.5 months of underground work that has to be done anyway, and that's going to begin very, very soon. It could be done within the next week.
Does that mean the parking lot's going to be dug up and I have to tell my patients to find other places to park? What's it going to do to my business? Because this is the first time I've heard of this. I had no idea what's going on. That's why I said I had a surprise for you today. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so now I'm getting nervous.
My understanding is it may have some impact. I'll get more information from that within the next couple of days.
It'd be nice to know what's happening before it happens so I can be prepared. Right. Because anyway, this is not the purpose of this show. No, but thank you for giving me that information.
Well, a lot of people in town have been very concerned that you've had a burnt out shell. When I say you, I mean the town has a burnt out shell there, and that has to be fixed.
Yeah. What about across the street, the Berkeley Meadows there, their convalescent center?
We are, in fact, I have asked our business administrator to check into and to maybe arrange for a meeting with the owner to find out what their intent is to do, whether it's listing, whether they're listing that property.
So we don't know what's going on with it?
We don't know. No, nobody has stepped forward other than I'm assuming the taxes are being paid. If they're not, we'll know very quickly.
There you go. Well, I do know the township's been instrumental in making sure it's been kept neat, getting it cut, the grass is cut and things like that. So I do
Right.
appreciate it. But thanks for the information about 308, 310. I appreciate it. The show's almost over. We got a couple of official questions for the mayor. And please send your questions to Bobby Peer at TAP, the Alternative Press, Berkeley Heights. So our first question is actually a follow-up from Dolores A. About getting her FiOS, her cable. I'm a resident of the Highlands, and we can never have FiOS or DirecTV because of our bylaws. I would appreciate what you can do. I want to get Optum. We had researched this for Dolores. What's the final word?
Yes, we did. Well, our business administrator reached out and made various contacts, and there is nothing stopping. Basically, Comcast is the biggest provider in the town, and as far as we can tell, nothing is stopping an Optimum from coming in and doing it.
All right.
Okay, now, as you said, the Highlands obviously does not allow at least, FiOS and one other item there.
We can never have FiOS or DirecTV because of our bylaws. That's more of them, not...
That's them.
Got it.
And my understanding is that there is nothing stopping or prohibiting anyone from contacting Optimum. Now,
Got
whether
it.
Optimum wants to come out and get involved in a very isolated circumstance, that's their business.
So it's not a municipal issue.
No, it's not a municipal issue.
Great, thank you. The next one, a recent TAP article stated legal fees incurred to the township by Oprah requests from Dr. Tom Forager totaled $10,226 for 2014. If yes, why is this so high? Also, have more requests for 2015 been made, and what is the projected cost to the taxpayers and township for those requests? That was submitted by Nancy R.
Okay. Well, Nancy, there's two issues here. One, it might be a miscommunication. That figure is an accurate figure, 10,000.
Is accurate.
It's
not
accurate. It's accurate, but it's accurate to legal fees concerning a litigation that Mr. Forager brought against the township concerning redevelopment.
Okay.
Okay. So, but Oprah, and that is something we have tracked for the last six months, at least since
Let
I've been in
our
office.
other citizens know what Oprah is.
It's the Open Public Records Act,
So
which is
people want information about what's going on in town.
Right,
We want it to be transparent.
correct. And
Okay.
there are there are laws that Oprah addresses as to the transparency, and we certainly don't just wish anybody not to seek the documents they wish. The next question is, to what extent do you utilize Oprah? The problems that in some individuals in town have caused in the Oprah is not a dollar for dollar circumstance. What it does is it takes our people away from what they're otherwise doing. And we determined within the last 6 months, since I've become mayor, I've asked our town clerk to keep track of that, and we determined that 1 week out of every 4 that she works is essentially was 1 week. One 5-day block out of every 20 days was being allocated to doing Oprah requests. Now, you can simply take whatever she makes as a salary and do the mathematics and
that's
learn
a lot of
that.
money. So we got that. Plus, now, why all these legal fees? I thought
Well,
it's
the
just
legal
a matter of
fees-
photocopying some papers.
Well, those legal fees. Excuse me. Those are not legal fees. Those are not Oprah legal fees.
Okay.
The questioner misinterpreted. Those are legal fees, but they're legal fees involved in the litigation that Mr. Forager brought against the township, claiming that this is not a redevelopable piece of property.
And then the other part was, what's the projected cost from Dr. Forager's request for 2015? How much more is it going to cost us?
Again, if we're talking about his cost associated with the litigation, I know that Mr. Forager's case is going to be litigated, and there's going to be a hearing on August 3rd.
Okay.
So
Whatever it costs.
That may end.
Yeah.
Okay? So whatever it costs, it costs. With respect to the Oprah, which is a continuing, and I would say maybe only 2 or 3 people maybe monopolize 90% of the Oprah requests. We've hired somebody part-time that is doing some of that.
It's really costing us a lot of money.
It's costing us money. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, we want everybody to be informed. We mentioned the best way to get information is come to the township committee meetings.
That's
and maybe be selective in your Oprah requests. Might be a good way of doing it. But, but you know, if you're a businessman, I always look at the bottom line. You know, it's not like my wife goes shopping and she says, I got it on sale. I say, honey, you still spend money, you know.
You have one of the, you have that too?
Yeah. So, I mean, you save money when you don't spend your money.
Right.
So that's the way I like to look at it. So anyway, Mayor, with closing comments, you had a great first half a year, a lot going on. Any closing comments?
No, I just encourage more people to get involved. One of the things that we've started is a community task force on growth and development.
Oh, nice.
Tom Perrone, one of our councilmen, is kind of chairing that for us, and they, they basically, their job is to say, look, let's step back, and if as citizens, what do we want this town? What do we want? Where do we go? Where are we going? What's going to make this a better place to live? Nice. And because let's face it, you can elect whomever you wish, and not everybody we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are a lot of good people in this town that are stepping up, and we encourage that. Get to meetings, get involved, and as we've repeatedly said, we're all in this together. So that's the only way we're going to get there.
Yeah. Mayor, sounds like a good idea, and I'm going to remind everybody to shop local. That's going to be my mantra, because if you don't shop local, there will be no downtown. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio with Mayor Robert Woodruff, semi-yearly address. We appreciate it. It's the Mayors Roundtable. Send those questions into Bobby Peer. We'll look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks for tuning in.